Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, where we believe coaching solves everything.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. I am your host today, Adam Roach, and today I have a special guest. This guy is near and dear to my heart right there, and I'm going to tell you why. I've watched Mr. Jonathon Wells rise through the ranks of real estate from the time that he was getting his butt kicked with cold calls, people hanging up on him, to now owning almost, over 2,000 doors one way or another in real estate syndication and real estate investing space. Jonathon Wells, it's my pleasure to have you on the I Love Coaching podcast, buddy. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Adam. I'm super excited. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. Well, hey, let's dive right into this. So you are a real estate man. Walk us through, how'd you get into real estate?
So I graduated from Georgia Southern, and after I graduated, got the conversation of, well, what are you going to do now, that everyone gets, right? And I had no idea. I knew my uncle was super successful in commercial real estate. I was like, maybe I'll give real estate a try. And thank God I did. I asked everyone where I should go to get training. They told me that was the most important thing. Everyone said Keller Williams. My father-in-law is really the one that pushed it. And he talks a lot of smack about Keller Williams. He's with Remax, but he recommended I go there. So thank God I did, because I got connected to an office here locally, and the rest is history.
Right, for sure. So what year was that? Do you remember what year that was?
I want to say it was 2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah.
And boy, I remember you coming in. You came in and you were like, coach me up. Where do I go? What do I do? How do I do it? Right? You were green. Yeah. Totally green.
Totally green. I've been in a corporate retail, big box retail background for most of my adult life, and trying to grow climb the corporate ladder, and having some frustration with that there. It's a lot of politics and whatnot, not necessarily getting paid for your output. I made a decision. I was kind of sick of it, and was like, something's got to change. I want something better with my life. And I decided there was a drop dead date that I quit, and I went all in. And that has a lot to do with why I was successful, is I didn't have any other choice. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to succeed in this business. And thank God I put myself in that situation, because it's what really helped me be successful.
Mm-hmm. So curious, if we have listeners right now, so our listeners literally are global, and they're all in the entrepreneurial space. If you've got someone that's listening right now that's on a fence, jumping into something, or staying in a safe zone, or maybe staying in a space that's not really their passion, what would you say to someone like that?
I'd say you just got to do it and rip the Band-Aid off. Like, you can't pull the parachute out unless you jump, right? So, it's really, really changed my life. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about where the direction of where my life has gone. When you act as if, the universe will align for you. And you're never going to know that unless you just stay safe. We like to be all up in our head and figure everything out and know step by step how to get from point A to point B. I had no idea how to do it, and you're not going to have any idea how to do it. You just got to say, I know there's something better for me. I think this might be, follow your heart, like right behind you there, I think that has a lot to do with what your coaching's about, instincts in your heart.
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard that. You can't pull the parachute unless you jump. Right. That's good. Okay. So now let's go back 2015. You're in real estate. You and I are in the same office together. And you came in hardcore. You came in, said, coach me up, teach me, tell me what I need to do. And then what'd you do?
Well, you came in hardcore too, because I remember one of our first classes, you're like, 90% of you won't be here in 6 months or a year. And I love that and of course, everyone looks around, I was like, I'm going to be here, And of course, 90% of them are out within a year. I just, there was no choice but to succeed. And I knew no matter what, I was going to do it. And the way I did it was, you always told me to be uncomfortable. And everything we were doing was very uncomfortable, cold calling, script practice. And I just got the words that people told me that were successful to say and just said them no matter what. And it surprised me what the outcomes were. I just got out of my own way. I was super uncomfortable, freaking sweating every day, nervous. I would come home and literally be shaking some days because of how uncomfortable I was. So I was just willing to do that, and I didn't care. I threw the ego out the window and just decided to go.
It's interesting. So I don't know if you did this on purpose or if you recall this. So where we used to do our boiler room calling, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was a big training room. I don't know how many square feet. Let's maybe call it 200 or 300 square feet. And it was lined up with rows of tables, and then it had a front table which faced all the others. And you always sat up at the front table facing everybody else. You remember that?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't hide in the corner. You didn't do anything. You weren't afraid to be heard. What created that? Again, I want you to speak to the listener that is like, gosh, I can relate to him. I know I should be calling, but I'm a little nervous. What created that in you?
I didn't have any choice but to get it done. Like, I didn't have an emergency fund. I think I had like a month and a half of savings. So I had to sell something and I didn't know how to do it. I just took the advice of people like you and did it, and just said, the number one thing I was learning, all the stuff that I learned was like mindset, thinking differently. I had to do something different in my life to get different results. Right. So up until that point, I'm 32 years old when I'm getting started, and I've been trying to be the good boy at the corporate job and work my way up, and that just didn't work for me. I learned a lot, gained a lot of great experience, but I knew I was capable of a lot more potential, and I just decided, I got to do something different. And I think someone said, you don't grow when you're comfortable, right? You gotta Sure. Be uncomfortable. I think you said that a lot.
Well, if anything, we made ourselves uncomfortable. Remember the days when we had to, if you walked into our dialing room, you had to put a $20 bill down, and whoever got the most no's got all the money.
Oh yeah, I love that. It was a total shift of the way you think. Like, I'm always looking for a yes, but now let's look for no's, because we got a lot of them, right? So
right, we did get a lot of no's. The funny part, that it popped up on my Facebook memory or something. That might have been 5-6 years ago. Yep. And that day, Darren Finan won. Damn it. He won. But I think you're right up there. Okay, so now pause for a second. Let's fast forward. So 32 when you got into real estate, it's 2015. Okay, you're not 40 yet. And where are you now? So what have you transitioned into? Your birthday's coming up, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So now you transitioned into the investing side of real estate.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I heard someone I follow, we're all really interested. If you've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, a lot of people love that concept of passive income to grow your passive more than your expenses, and then you're infinitely wealthy. Right. So that was, and I know you're very passionate about that. And it's like, okay, how do you get passive income? That was a question I asked for years. And, is it vending machines? Is it, building another business? I know real estate. And then I was listening to someone that I really look up to, and they said, I was really looking hard into multifamily. You should never buy less than 36 doors. And it was like, you really shouldn't buy less than 64. But since most of y'all's mindset is so limiting, I'm going to say 36, just so you can try to start wrapping your head around it. And I still could not wrap my head around that. I was like, how in the world is that going to be your first investment, is 36 doors? So I literally asked myself that question for over 2 years. Wow. And then, that was the most powerful question I could have asked, because I was on a journey to figure out, how do people do this, finding out who's doing this. I come to find out many people were doing this and doing a lot more than 36 doors, and listening to these podcasts. And no one ever said on any one of these multifamily podcasts, I wish I would have started smaller. They always say, I wish I would have started bigger. So now, our first deal was 72 units. Our second one was 101 units. We did a 60 unit. At the end of last year, just did a 26 unit. And we did that because it's kind of a passion project. It's in where I graduated from school. And
Nice.
then we're in the process of taking down nearly 150 doors right now.
Yes, you are. Well done. Okay, so let's go back.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to your 32, right? You just walked into the Keller Williams office.
Yeah.
And you and I are about to get into business together. And I say, Mr. Wells, I want to paint the future for you, that before you turn 40 years old, you will be in possession of over almost 400 doors yourself and having invested in nearly 2,000. What would you have said to me?
I mean, it gives me goosebumps. I still,
me too, actually.
I would have said you're a liar. There's no way, like, how could I accomplish that? I heard once, if you make a list of, just blow your wildest dreams away in the next 10 years, make a list of everything you could ever want. Make that list and keep it. And I guarantee you will sell yourself short every single time. And that just, it's how much can you dream? How big can you think, And you challenged me that very early on, was think big, think bigger. And I really appreciate you for doing that, because it's helped a lot.
Well, you have it, you had it, you're extremely coachable. And anybody listening right now, I will tell you I've been around thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying this because we're on the I Love Coaching podcast. You are one of the most coachable people I know, because you go figure out the how. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. You figure out the how, and then you go do it. And you follow whatever that path is that somebody's already laid before you, right? You don't try to reinvent the wheel. You just do it. So you are one of the most coachable people I know. Now let's talk to the people that are listening right now. 7 years, you've grown to 400, 2,000 doors here, and they're sitting there thinking that I can't do this.
Yeah.
These people that we hear on these podcasts, they are, they're way ahead of me.
Yeah.
Talk to them. What would you say?
It's all relative, right? Like, there's people I look at that I have the same, self-talk I can have, when I look at folks that have over 4,000 doors and whatnot. So it's just, where are you now? You're only competing against yourself. I got to keep that in focus. I'm just trying to get 1% better every day against me. I can't compare myself to others. I can look at others and see, maybe best practices or tug on them for advice. But I definitely do not judge myself compared to other people. Everyone has their own journey. They wouldn't trade in their stuff for mine, and I wouldn't trade in my stuff for theirs. So
right. What would you tell someone how to get started?
How to get started multifamily?
Well, yes, outside of not doing a deal below 36 or 64, we've got that checked. What else would you tell me to go do?
I would put money in. I would be a passive investor in someone's large deal. Nowadays you can find them where you only need to put $1,000 or $5,000 in, and just learn about it. I would also get involved in a boot camp. They're very cheap nowadays. There's like virtual boot camps for $100 for 2 full days of coaching, that the value there is incredible. So we did that, and then we signed up for a very high-end, elite boot camp or mastermind, and it's making a commitment. It was $20,000 coaching, right? So we want to see an ROI on $20,000. So I think when you make a commitment like that, you pretty much, punched your ticket for success.
Right.
And everyone's worried about spending the money. Like, money's no good until you use it.
Mhm.
The number one investment, we always try to look at stocks and real estate and everything else to invest in. The number one investment, the biggest ROI, is in yourself and your own education and coaching and and masterminds. The second best investment is I just lost my train of thought, but in your own business. And then the third would be, now you got so much money spinning off from the first two that you have to find real estate deals or buy other businesses or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So let's pause there for a second, because that's great advice. Number one, invest in yourself. Right. Number two, and reinvest back into your own businesses. And number three, go invest in this conversation, real estate. Go invest in a vehicle that'll continue to grow while you're not doing anything with it. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go grow your money. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to get involved is get on someone else's deal and learn it. That's how we started.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to these virtual boot camps. Is there anyone that you would recommend?
Yeah, so we're part of Rod Khalif's Warrior program. And I'm sure we can put a link somewhere, but he actually has a virtual boot camp coming up next weekend. And really? I think it's $99. And it's more value in there than you'll get for, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we were on the panel on that one. We've been on his podcast as well. It's the number one multifamily syndication podcast in the world.
Nice.
He's a super generous guy. He's very big into Tony Robbins, so he gives away thousands of meals and book packs or backpacks to kids every year. And he learned his lesson in 2008 in the single family game. And that's why he's on multifamily now, and everything cash flowed through 2008 for him in the multifamily. His single family fell apart, but he's got a really cool story. I would definitely check him out.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Jake and Gino and Michael Blanc are the other two names I would think about looking into.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put those in the notes section of this. So this will go stream out everywhere, and it's also going to be on YouTube. So we'll have all these notes there if you want to see Mr. John Wells' pretty face. Go watch us on YouTube. Yeah. So now what? So here we are. You turn 40 in just a few days.
Yep.
Just a few days. And so let's go back. We've got 32 to 40. We'll call that a decade. Now we've got the next decade between 40 and 50.
Yeah.
How small will that vision be?
Well, I guarantee it's grown a lot bigger. And it always changes and keeps growing. So right now, so we got two little kids, and we've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, a boy and a girl. And that's really the number one focus is, the money is good for the good money can do. Gary Keller says all the time. And money is important to give us freedom, time freedom, right? So the most precious resource on planet Earth is time. You can't get it back. What money can do is buy you time. And so that's the number one focus is family. And the question now is, how do we get more time with our family, as much time and as much quality time uninterrupted as we can possibly get? Now I do have big goals as far as how large we want to grow this thing and how much money we want to make and how many people we want to help, and all that. But the number one focus is our kids. So
that's beautiful. Now here's the fun part. So we didn't have our initial conversation recorded. We now have this conversation recorded. So 10 years from now, when we go back and look at this, I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old. How about that? Woo!
And I'll be in my 50s, huh?
Hey, listen, I'm right there. I'm 45 and I have a 13 and 11-year-old. So it's a fun journey. So, okay, let's wrap this up. talking about the journey here. So you've gone from coming out of the corporate world to hustling, to following what everyone said to do, which you did beautifully. I love you for your hard work, watching you at the front of that room, just go through your scripts, go through the paces because someone taught you to do that. To now transitioning to what you were listening to about passive income and how to create it. The next journey here is going to be all about family. And is the vehicle of multifamily going to be the vehicle that gets you ultimately where you want to go?
Yes, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just it's very fulfilling. I'll tell you. Like I want everyone to be rich, and it's crazy in our society that we have to do stuff we don't want to do to make a paycheck to stay away from our families. And I mean, it's crazy with the amount of abundance we have around us. And it really just comes down to education. Yeah. And part of my passion is teaching people these things. I mean, just even my own family, like, hey, they should really teach this stuff in school.
Right.
So yeah, it's so many good things come out of it. The people that invest with us, the people that get educated with us, our own family, the people that we serve and as tenants in the multifamily space, we bring up their experience from what they've had for buildings we've taken over. So it's really, really fulfilling for that reason and for the scalability. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, in ending here, so I've got a lot of great notes here from you, and I'm excited to get on a deal with you. This is going to be fun. We're going to be doing our first one together. How do people find you? How would people understand how to learn more about you, learn more about any of the deals you're syndicating, or even just chat with you from an experience standpoint? What can they do? How can they go find you?
You can find me on Facebook. John Wells Realtor, or just Jonathon Wells in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm happy to put my phone number in the comments or tell you right now if you want. You can call me. I do have accounts. What's that?
We'll put it in the comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have a Calendly where you can sign up and have a one-on-one conversation. I'm happy to help any way I can. I love to see people, that are in the same spot I was in, and maybe hope, cut some of that learning curve off from you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, careful, buddy. I might be coming to you to become an I Love Coaching coach in the multifamily space. Be careful.
All right. Let's start it.
That will be fun. So everybody, I want you to hear Mr. John Wells today. I'm super excited for all the content that he just shared. His story is a brilliant one. It's a great story from the standpoint that you can go wherever you want to, as long as you invest in yourself, invest in your businesses. And then the last one is find a vehicle, in this case, multifamily, that can take you to the time that you want to have to choose to do what you want to do with. John, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So everybody, thanks for listening today. If you like this podcast and this recording, go give us a positive comment and tell us what you liked about it. If you didn't like this podcast, remember, I'm going to put Jonathon Wells' number down the bottom in our notes, and you can tell him. No, I'm just kidding. Do not call him for that. And we will see you all next time. By the way, go to ilovecoachingco.com, ilovecoachingco.com. Go get a free coaching call. Do what Jonathon Wells did. Go get coached up and learn how to grow yourself, your business, and your life. Take care. See you next time. Bye-bye.